Let's talk about jobs, and specifically jobs to build houses. Yes, builders. We need more houses. We haven't got enough builders. We keep importing more builders from abroad, and then they need more houses. We're kind of in a Ponzi scheme of house building being done by foreigners. So what a good idea that Labour has unveiled. OK, they also did it in March, but a bit more detail now. A £100 million plan to battle the housing crisis by training 40,000 builders by 2029. Let's talk about this with Maxwell Marlow, who's Director of Public Affairs at the Adam Smith Institute. He's also Director of Policy at the YIMBY Initiative. So YIMBY as in yes, in my backyard. A very good afternoon to you, Maxwell.
Afternoon, Julia.
Thanks
How
for
are you?
joining us. Very well indeed. I'm quite excited and not a little surprised. It appears that Labour have got a good policy that will actually do good things. Am I right?
It's marginal, really, Julia. I mean, it's a large amount of money for 40,000 workers by the end of this parliament. So let's look at this in the round with the stats. So the housing industry, the construction industry takes on 200,000 people a year, and they lose 200,000 people a year. And they currently have enough people to do a lot of the building and construction that's required at the moment, but not enough to deliver that 1.5 million housing target, which the government probably won't be hitting anyway because of
they're already
reasons.
behind, and no one's hit their target before, even lower targets. But hold on a minute.
Exactly.
You say the building industry construction has got enough people. You try getting a builder round my way, you are absolutely struggling. People waiting months and months to find anyone who can carry out the work. We haven't got enough builders.
Well, you could say that, but
I
at the
know
same
that.
time,
Well, not round my way. We don't.
Well, this is a big thing. So half of SME, small, medium-sized enterprise house builders, will probably go bust by the end of this parliament. So that is thousands of companies that we rely on them very much. Well, because the planning system and the financing for the planning isn't there. So they've got this big bill going through parliament at the moment. The planning and infrastructure bill doesn't go nearly far enough. So when you ask developers and builders, like I do with the YIMBY Initiative, what's holding you up? They're just saying we've got this massive backlog of development that we're trying to get through, but the planning system isn't letting us bring on new builders or parts, whatever else.
It took me 6 months to get planning permission for a shed, for goodness sake. I mean, it's madness. But this is the thing. We were told there's this big planning reform. I cheered them on for this. Tories have tried to do it, talked about doing it, and then they had a load of Tory MPs in the Shires go, oh, no, none of my, they're all NIMBYs, not in my backyards. None of my constituents want to build it. Now we've got a lot of Labour MPs who've now representing those seats going, oh, we're not sure either. Everyone agrees we need to build more houses. They just want them built somewhere else.
Exactly. It's a huge, huge issue, and something that we've been grappling with as a country for years and years. I mean, I just saw your interview with Mr. Dale about, climate, and, nature and water came up, but so did heat death, people dying of heat. I don't know if you know about this, Julia, but heat death is much, much higher in Europe than in really hot areas like Texas or Singapore or Malaysia. Do you know why? It's because we build AC units, air conditioning, which is basically illegal to do on new builds in the UK. In fact, it's forbidden by our building regulations. So the regulatory structure suffocates house building.
Literally mad, literally mad. But again, it's a religious zealotry. It's not about fact. But I mean, surely training up more of our young people to do a worthwhile job, very rewarded job, often very well rewarded, very lucrative job, is a good thing.
It is a good thing, but you have to see where this money is going. It's not going to developers or people who, are on site doing the training. It's actually going to further education colleges. What I've seen it as is a bung to the unions,
more
the education
for our
unions.
mates.
Exactly, 100 million quid for 40,000 traineeship places. That doesn't sound right. So you've got to look at this in a wider context of it's Labour doing this, and they do get along with their unions quite well. So we need to fix things like the apprenticeship levy, give more certainty to builders, and they can train up our youngsters to do the jobs that are needed.
I suppose also, given that so many people who work in higher education or further education are now working from home, I don't suppose you can give Zoom lessons on how to lay bricks, but they'll certainly try. Maxwell Marlow, interesting to hear from you on that. We want to hear more, actually, another interview about the YIMBY Initiative, yes, in my backyard.